What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We have a very special episode of Is It Worth It? The first sequel episode, kind of. I'm the Todd Father 6. This Is It Worth It? A series where I take a look at free games available on Steam and I review it and let you know whether or not it's worth that most precious resource that you have, time. Today's game is Straftat. That's a mouthful. It's a 1v1 shooter, competitive shooter, boomer shooter, dual stick, also very dark setting. This is developed and published by the Lemaitre brothers. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correct. They're the same developers and publishers of BABBDI, which is why this is kind of a sequel. I raved about BABBDI when it came out. I loved that game, and this is very much in the same vein artistic-wise, but it's not story-driven like BABBDI is. But we'll get into that. It was released earlier within the last couple of weeks of recording. It was released on October 24th, 2024 on Steam, and seems to have a pretty decent player base. It's available on Steam now for free. There is one paid DLC, and we're going to get into what's offered in that DLC. It's about $5 American, and my thoughts on that. Conceptually, Straftat is a 1v1 arena shooter. Each arena has its own set of weapons that are accessible to the player, and it moves very fast. They are smaller arenas that are really well populated with columns and walls and corners that require you to move differently when thinking about this as a shooter. It also pushes you and your opponent into proximity closer to get to a point where you have to engage in combat. The game art itself is very, very much in the same artistic style as BABBDI. That's the first thing that struck me when news broke that this game was being created. It's dark. It's very industrial feeling, avant-garde with the character design. Everyone plays as the same character, the same criminal, but there is some customization. You can change the hat that you wear. There's also masks that you can earn, as well as suits, different suits that you can wear. So you have a little bit of cosmetic customization, but nothing that's super over or requires anything like a microtransaction. As you play, you do earn more hats as well as maps as you gain XP as you play against other players, which is really nice. As far as the playstyle goes, this game is very fast. It is very, very fast to move within the arena. With the arenas being very small, movement is key. As you can tell, I'm not the greatest at competitive shooters, but I needed to give this a try. Within reason, the game itself moves you very, very fast. I play on controller, and the fastest player always wins. That is common within the genre, within the boomer shooter genre, within any of the competitive shooters. Normally, if you're a fast player that can think quick on your feet and you have great twitch response when it comes to firing your weapon, you are going to behave in a much higher category than what your opponent, like myself, behaves in. As far as the environments, the arenas, the maps, there's around 70 available maps in the base game, and you earn those maps based on the XP that you earn when you play against other players. Though you get notified that you've earned a map or a grouping of maps as they unlock for you, which is really nice. So it's really nice to see that as you add XP, you are earning something within the game that you don't need to have any aspect of monetization or any aspect of even in-game currency to access. The weapons are interesting. You have 2 to 3 weapons per map. These weapons range so far that I've seen from standard shotguns and pistols that are very aesthetically within the game as far as art style goes, to plasma and energy-based weapons. I've found proximity mines and claymores, blunderbusses, and single-shot rifles, like bore rifles. It's super interesting, the overall concept that there's submachine guns and pistols and revolvers, but you also might be in a map that lands you in with a giant blunderbuss and you only get one shot. You have a certain amount of ammo per weapon pickup. They are generated on these little pads. You can switch out and grab another one. Some weapons allow you to dual wield, which is really nice. So you can do twin trigger for that. There's no buy-in or microtransactions for the weapons. The weapons are what's there. That's it. Overall, obviously the base game is free, otherwise we wouldn't be reviewing it on this channel. And it is only available on Steam. However, there is a DLC available on Steam that is $4.99 American. This DLC contains an additional 70 plus maps, some specialized weapons, and more hats. What it feels like is this DLC is for the developers so that they can make some money on the back end for their game, but they're not overcharging. They don't want to do microtransactions, so they put some extra stuff in a DLC to see who would get it. I'm interested because I really like these two developers. I like what they've done, and I really want to show my support. So if I do continue to play this game, I'm going to probably buy the DLC. Now, let's talk about the game experience overall. Getting into a game can be interesting and potentially time-consuming. The player base for the game is from Steam, which makes sense. It doesn't feel like there's any currently skill-based matchmaking. It's 1v1. You can get into lobbies, but sometimes it's hard to find one or to stay in one. There are 3 options for games. The first is hosting your own game. You can set the total number of rounds you play, what the kill count needs to be at for a decisive victory. It allows you to set your maps. I'm going to look further in to see if you can set weapons as well, but I think weapons are tied to maps. And it allows you to be the host for the game, and you can play with the person as long as they want to stay in your lobby. The second is joining a hosted game, and this works really well for people that play that are on your friends list from Steam. You can set it up to where you are doing the same thing as you would hosting, but you're jumping into a game that's already being hosted by someone that you know. Then there's Quick Match. Quick Match was initially how I started playing because I don't have a lot of friends on Steam that have this game. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, guys. Download the game. And I got into some really good games. I've met a few people in those games. I had a blast playing it and playing against them. Some of them I've even added onto my friends list already. However, I've also been kicked because I'm just not someone that they want to play with, apparently, which is fine. That's fine. I don't judge anybody for either kicking me from their lobby or not wanting to play with me. I completely understand that. But it can also leave you kind of in limbo waiting for a game as well if you're doing quick match, because you're pretty much just getting in queue and waiting for an opening in a game before going live. The game is both compatible with a Xbox Xbox controller, which is what I played on it. It's keybound for obviously keyboard and mouse. And according to the store page, you can also use a tethered DualShock controller as long as you have it USB connected to your PC. So that there's a lot more options as far as control goes. I use controller, so a lot of the gameplay that you're seeing is me on controller. I do believe that that is a disadvantage for me because I'm nowhere near as fast using it as, say, some of the players that I've played using a keyboard and mouse. Within the game, it's really interesting. There is a proximity chat, though I haven't used it yet. There's also a chat box, as you'll see going through the video. I've talking with some of the players. It's kind of feels like it's meant to be a community game, or at least help build an aspect of community within the game, which is really cool. It did get laggy for me at times. That's one of my major critiques. It did get laggy, especially in the last match that I played. I don't know if that is a system issue on my end or if it's an issue within the game. Sometimes there's some slight lag because there's a lot of graphical detail in some of the maps, so I don't know if that's what's caused some of it, but it does. It's the same as with Ping or any other competitive shooter. If you're laggy, you're vulnerable. So that's something that I'm going to need to look into and address. I might have to drop some of the settings down just to drop that down. I'm not sure. But ultimately, is it worth it? Overall, yeah. Yeah, if you liked BABBDI and you like a competitive shooter, this game is for you. If you're one of the players that I know that have played BABBDI and love the art style, this game is worth at least giving a shot. If you're a competitive shooter player looking for something light, fun, and quick, something to do where you don't have to worry about being in a trios or a duos game or being a part of a squad where you can just, run and shoot and have a blast, this game's definitely for you as well. The art style is not for everybody, and I understand that, but it is unique. And there's beauty in its uniqueness. There seems to be a decent current population playing the game. And obviously the game's only been out for a couple of weeks as of recording, so that is not a huge determining factor at this time. We'll have to see how this performs later on when we're looking at months down the road, turning into 2025. But right now, there seems to be a good player base right at the beginning, and so I'm interested to see how this grows. Looking at the reviews on Steam, it's overwhelmingly positive, which is amazing. People are enjoying the concept, they're enjoying how the game plays. Even if they don't like the art style, they think it's rudimentary, they are surprised at how tight and well built the mechanics are, which is fantastic, and I love to see that as well. I feel the same, though I love the art style. I also like how tight the mechanics do feel when I'm in game. Again, I fully recommend this game to anybody who wants to give it a try. It will be linked below in the description. The DLC, I can see where people would have a problem with paid DLC for a game like this. If you know me in person and we've talked about games, you know how I feel about microtransactions. I think they are some of the worst things to happen in gaming, period. At least for this game, the DLC, one, is low cost. Two, it seems to have a lot of benefit for the player within it. It's all cosmetic. The specialty weapons, I mean, they're going to be specialty weapons, but they're going to behave just like regular weapons within the game. So it's not going to be kind of a pay to win thing. I think other people would associate having weapons in a DLC be a part of. Most of what you're getting is maps and cosmetics. And it seems like an inexpensive way for someone who appreciates what these developers have done with their last 2 games to kick a little bit of money back to the devs. And I'm probably going to be purchasing it in the near future. If I use it, I do. If I don't, it doesn't matter. I've received a lot of good times and fun playing the games by these developers, and it's only fair that they do make a little bit of money on it. But that's just my opinion. But please, play this game. Go download it, play it, help build the community for it. It is fun, it's fast, and I hope to see you out there. Hey everybody, ToddFather6 here signing off. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you want to see more, click the videos that are listed or hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications in order to be notified when I've got more posted. Until then, as always, be good, be kind, be safe. See you next time.